What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of E4 Solo Leveling. This is episode 9, and with me, as always, I have Bluespade.
Yeah, I mean, the show just continues to keep getting better and better each week. This despite its like initial slow pacing, it's really showcasing how good this show's gotten over the last several weeks.
Yeah, I mean, I thought the animation in this as well was just particularly really good. I mean, it has been pretty consistently good, but you just get a lot of really well animated fight scenes, like especially in this episode. Um, it was pretty impressive, like just some of what they did. Uh, but yeah, I mean, I definitely thought this was one of the better episodes so far. Um, Especially with like I didn't honestly didn't see some of the reveals coming. I guess in particular that the guy who was from the Hunters Association ended up just being I guess like an assassin, but also just like I guess technically a serial killer.
Yeah.
Um,
Um.
uh,
So so uh so the episode is of course the hunters entering the dungeon with with the three convicts that they were being accompanied by, and of course uh Kong Taishik, who's the supervisor of that group. Of course, the party of course splits off into three different groups um with Sung accompanying Juhi and Chiol, of course, the guy with the missing arm. Um, and of course, Kong looking after the three convicts in one path, and the two other guys, I think, in another path after that. Um, we also get to see, like, I guess, like the two guys talking to each other, like wanting to formally apologize to Sung about what happened to them. At well, like during the events of like the first couple episodes of them abandoning Sung, during that whole debacle.
Yeah. I guess I should have seen some parts of this episode coming, considering it seemed like there was definitely some death flags that were being flown. Like in particular, this character is saying that they should apologize to Sung after they get out of the dungeon, and also just the fact that we see him and his family in an earlier episode. It kind of I guess that should have been a hint that he's not going to make it. Because of course, as we see later on, that he's one of the people that ends up getting killed by the assassin.
Yeah. So Kong, of course, ends up killing the three convicts. But of course, there's a reason for that because he got supposedly he got paid off by the father of of the victim's daughter who were tortured and later committed suicide thanks to these three convicts.
Yeah. Yeah, before I saw this episode, I initially thought that what was going to happen was that the convicts were going to be the ones uh to end up maybe trying to kill Sung and his party, but I didn't really anticipate it was going to be this guy from the Hunters Association.
Yeah, it just came out of left field, to be honest. Like,
Yeah.
he was the one who initially looked into to Sung to surviving that whole double dungeon incident. But then he just all of a sudden just kills like not only the three convicts, but he kills like um, the two other hunters that ended up witnessing this happening.
Yeah. Um yeah, so of course the uh Sung and the rest of the group discover the bodies of the convicts, as well as the two other hunters he had killed, and they confront him about it. And this, of course, ends up leading into a fight. Well, at first it's between the assassin and the I forget his
It, it
name, the guy
was
with
it
one
was
arm.
it was Chiol.
Shield, yeah. So he tries to at first he tries to like I guess he used to be like a mage, but he said become more of I guess a sword, or he used the sword more. So he ends up just trying to fight him with this like kind of like fight him with a sword, and then also at times he tries to lure him into a trap with or use some kind of a magic trap by using like fire magic on him, but he ends up evading it. We see that earlier that he can use, I guess, I guess maybe it's some kind of illusion or something, or like a clone of himself, because he ends up getting cut in half, but it's not really him,
Mhm.
and he just like teleports somewhere else.
Yeah, it's pretty much Kong's like assassin like abilities in which he can create illusions
Yeah.
to trick his opponents, and of course, he eventually takes down Chio, but he doesn't kill him thanks uh, to Sung intervening and blocking his killing blow.
Yeah. Um, yeah, and this too is like where, well, basically we see how powerful I guess that Sung has really become, is that the fact that he's able to take this guy on, who we later learned is like, I guess, a level like a B rank. Um, so I guess it shows just how powerful he is now. But we learn later that, yes, Sung encounters someone who's an A rank, and he says he wouldn't stand a chance against them, but I guess he could fight a B rank and win.
Yeah. Initially, Sung did have some trouble fighting against Kong, but of course, he eventually, um, I guess, he adapts and overcomes Kong's assassin-like abilities. But basically, just like I don't know what he did to take Kong down. Like initially, he did slash him in the face at one point, which causes him to take in some of the poison. But somehow Kong expelled that, out of his body. But then
It
like
just seems like I guess he just hit him with some kind of overwhelming bloodlust or something that ended up like either intimidating him or paralyzing him with fear enough that Sung stabbed him.
yeah, he
And he,
he stabs him in the chest, and then of course, Kong, of course, before he ends up dying, uh, he points out like that to how much more powerful that Sung has gotten, and of course he realizes that this is the same kid that he interviewed in the hospital room after the double dungeon incident.
yeah. Um, so of course after they leave the dungeon, they encounter, I forget this guy's name, but he's one of the heads, I guess, of the Hunters Association, or one of the higher ups.
Yeah,
Um,
and of course
eh,
he tries to inquire as to what happened, as to why his partner would end up like committing these heinous actions. At first, like he's about to suspect, he still suspects like Sung of being the person who took down Kong, but Chiyol steps up and claims that he was the one who defeated Kong, with Juhi as his backup. So I guess
yeah.
for the time being, the guy ends up accepting the story, at least for now, from what I can assume. But I think,
Yeah, you can tell he does not believe it though. Uh, like I think he's going to probably look into it more and discover that it was Sung, or because I don't think he really buys that story.
yeah, I mean, considering the fact that he knows that Sung is the person who survived the double dungeon incident, and of course he suspects that Sung might have gone through like the whole second awakening thing.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I thought it. Like I said, I thought it was a really great episode. I mean, I feel like pretty much every episode, especially like in the latter half of the season, has just been really great. The fight scenes in particular are just like I didn't know, like, how A1 was going to approach them. I mean, because like I've said before, sometimes A1 doesn't really seem to really give much animation budget to certain shows, and but I mean, it seems like they kind of prioritize, actually giving some budget to this one, or just at least just have, like, I guess, talented animators working on it, because the fight scenes have been pretty consistently good. Um, so yeah, I thought it was a good episode. Some pretty interesting revelations I didn't really see coming. Um, I guess, like you said, this season's probably going to end with that, like the teasing of that island arc.
Yeah,
It's
the
uh,
I
yeah,
honestly, it's hard for me to. I mean, it's difficult for me to pinpoint how much material that they're covering, because honestly, like, to be honest, like, I thought this fight with Kong was gonna last at least 2 episodes, but I'm surprised uh, it ended up, going by as quick as it did.
does it like go longer in the
It
in the manhwa.
It kind of felt a little bit longer when I was reading it. It did last like at least several chapters longer than expected, but it seems like they kind of like they kind of put it together like all together in just this one episode, which I was surprised that they actually did that. So I wouldn't be surprised if they somehow crammed in the Jeju arc, basically as a finale episode.
Yeah. I mean, do you think anything important was like left out of that fight, or do you think that they just kind of like cut some of the fat from it, like stuff that wasn't really necessary?
I I think they might have cut a few corners, but I think some of the important scenes, like like the whole thing with the song you see like with the eyes glowing in the dark back
Yeah.
was a including like some of the mannerisms of and the fight scenes between Kong and Sung was definitely adapted very well. But it kind of felt like
Hmm.
they made it seem like it went by a lot faster than I thought it would. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm still curious on how they're gonna end up adapting like whatever they're gonna end up adapting like with the last three episodes. If like,
Hmm.
I could still assume that they could do the Jeju arc by the last episode, but I really felt I don't know. The Jeju arc when I read it, it felt much longer than this, story arc with the Song's fight against Kong.
Yeah. I mean, I guess they could possibly do it in the like maybe the remaining like what like three episodes.
It's possible, but
Yeah.
it's just the thing is like there's still like a little bit more buildup to this, and I mean it's possible that they could do like another build-up episode for next week, and maybe they might do the Jeju arc possibly by the last two
Hmm.
episodes, but it's hard for me. Honestly, it's really hard for me to pinpoint it as of right now due to like how many chapters I literally just read through.
Yeah. I guess we'll see how they handle that. But yeah, I don't really have too much else to say about the episode, though. I don't know if you have anything else to
It
say about it.
Yeah, it's like I said, the show has gotten better uh, each and every week. It's gone by, but like I said, it it starts off slow at first, and then of course it progressively gets better and better each week. Rolls along. My
Hmm.
my only criticism, is the lack of development and screen time of like some of the other characters, like Chahain and the other S rank hunters, because technically they are also major characters, but much of the screen time has mostly gone to Sung.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping at least by the time they get to the island arc that characters like Shaheen will get more screen time and more development.
Mhm.
But yeah, guys. So that all being said, and until next time, we will see you all later.